Hey everybody, it's Taylor with Boydston Grove, and today I'm going to modify the fence on my table saw so I can start making jigs for it. Let's get into it. For the longest time, I've had a list of jigs that I've really wanted to make to slide on the fence of my table saw. Unfortunately, the table saw that I have to work with is a Jobsite table saw, which has a very small fence with these plastic brackets on each side, making it impossible for me to make a jig that'll slide over this fence. So we're going to start by modifying this fence so that it can actually hold a jig. Now I know there's probably a lot of people that are going to get aggravated that I'm messing with the integrity of a manufactured tool. But the bottom line is we're not going to make anything unsafe by doing this, and I'm modifying it to fit my own needs in my shop. I started by cutting some wood to fill that gap where those plastic brackets are on either side of the fence. Once I had the pieces to the correct thickness, I just cut them to the height of the fence. To attach the boards to the fence, I just drilled out some holes in the fence and then used some screws with washers. This fence is hollow and made out of aluminum, so I was able to drill through it very easily. Alright, our fence modification is finished. That went really quick, and now it's time to knock out some jigs, and I'm going to start with a tenoning jig. Tenoning jig? Tenoning jig. Tenoning. For this first jig, I just used some scrap pieces of 3/4 inch plywood. I'm not really aiming for this thing to look real pretty, so I'm not really worried about all the screw holes. For the first jig, I needed to make sure that I had a board attached vertically at a perfect 90-degree angle. Then I attached some hold-down clamps that I picked up from Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. I wanted this jig to be two-sided, so for the second side, I decided to add a spline cutting jig for picture frames. For this jig, it's really important that those boards are at a perfect 45-degree angle. Then I just added some more hold-down clamps. I cut some pieces of dowel to put in between the two pieces of 3/4 inch plywood to use as handles to push this jig along the fence. This will not only make it much easier to use, but a lot safer. As a finishing touch, I added some wax on the inside of the jig and on the fence, and this will make it move much smoother. right, our table saw fence modification and our first jig are completed. I know this video is a little bit different than I normally do, but this is something that I've really wanted to do for a long time, and I really think that this is really going to change how I use my table saw for the better. Making the table saw jig double-sided was really a great idea because it's going to be great for space saving, and that way I can have multiple purposes for each jig that I have. The tenoning jig on the first side is really handy because you can not only cut your tenons, but you can also cut really severe angles that might be difficult to do otherwise. As far as the picture frame spline jig on the other side, I'm really happy that I decided to go with this one first because I batch out a lot of picture frames for our business, so this will come in really handy to strengthen those up. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this project, or I'd love to hear some suggestions on other jigs that I can build for my table saw. We work on a new project every week, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you very much for watching, be safe, and have a great day.